Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Tevis-Finn recording from room 114, and we're opening up with our new unit on World War II. So this is a famous image to introduce you guys to this concept of how can we remain neutral during this new international crisis known as World War II. So another question for number 1 on your guided notes is, what has been America's foreign policy up to this point in history? So these two images should get you thinking. First, of the advice from our first president to steer clear of permanent alliances. So that is certainly very strong isolationist policy being established at the very beginning of our nation's founding. And then it lasts up through World War I. If you guys should note that we remained isolationist 3 of the 4 years of the war. We only got involved in the last year. And so my question for you is, number 2, what will it take for us to change our isolationist position? So if you don't know the image in the right, you should definitely jot it down and let's talk about it in class, but put down what you think will really wake us from our slumber. And so what's going on in the 1930s? There is a lot of increased aggression towards smaller countries. Militarism, nationalism. So guys, please put down the 3 images that I have down. This is for number 3. So the 3 countries that increased their aggression towards the smaller countries would be Germany, here invading Czechoslovakia on the left. In the middle, guys, please look at Japan, and they're walking through the streets of China, invading and then occupying. And then look at the famous dictator of Italy, Mussolini. So we see the rise of fascism in Italy. So put down those 3 places. And certainly, guys, a question to review is the way we looked at the causes of World War I with the letters M-A-N-I-A. So we'll talk about that in class, but it can't hurt to jot down what you see happening from World War I, and now it seems to be happening again for World War II. And so number 4, the U.S. How do we respond during these tough times where countries are taking over other countries? Basically, guys, we pass neutrality laws. And so we don't get involved directly, but again, I want you to pause and think about what could possibly make us change from neutrality to action. And also, guys, think about what did we do in World War I? What did we experience that is going to certainly affect our policy in the 1940s? And so if we look at number 4, how does the U.S. respond? You guys, we're going to put down several key bullets for these neutrality acts. The first one being in 1937 and 1938. And for those who remember their European history, that is the year that Hitler takes over, begins to take over Europe. So we say that it's illegal for us to sell arms to any country at war. So I want you guys to, after you put that down for the first set, is I want you to put down why. The answer always is in our past. We certainly believed that when we were selling arms to France and Great Britain, right, with our merchant ships and getting entangled with Germany, that this was what dragged us from our neutrality, from our isolationism. So we certainly are trying not to repeat the past. I think if you see here, this is FDR giving his radio broadcast about the Neutrality Acts. He's trying to talk to the people that, please don't be alarmed that we're going to repeat the past. So he's trying to, really start cautiously. And so, guys, the second set, please pay attention. It's 1939, okay, and basically what it says is that it requires all non-military supplies to be cash and carry. So this is, again, us trying to not repeat the past. So we don't want to cross the Atlantic and put ourselves in harm's way like we did for World War I. Also, we don't want any loans. So we don't want any, remember there was a huge recession in Europe and then, leading to our Great Depression, so we don't want any economic crisis to stem from us getting involved. And so, guys, here is an advertisement from the era that shows, FDR's promise. So again, guys, it's like an example you could put down would be Great Britain. If they need supplies from us, they have to send their own ship and they have to transport the goods back to Europe. So cash and carry. All right, guys, the third kind of set of neutrality acts are called the Destroyers for Bases deal. So certainly does not sound non-military, does it? So guys, it's a revision of the Neutrality Acts. And what it says is that warring nations could buy weapons from the U.S. only cash, and it would be these destroyers would be the first kind of trade. And so I have the newspaper article from the time period, and I have here FDR meeting with Churchill to discuss this deal. So guys, put down what the deal was. We would give Great Britain 50 of our old destroyers. I'll show you guys a picture. And then Great Britain in exchange would let us build, naval bases on Great Britain controlled territories such as Newfoundland, Bermuda, and the Caribbean. Okay, so is it a way around us being neutral? You guys certainly can begin to question, how can we remain isolationist? Here is a picture of the old destroyers that are laid up at San Diego, and this is what Great Britain gets. And remember, what do we get in return? We get to build naval bases. Another bullet should be titled Two Sides of the Isolationist Debate. And so why am I including this? Pictured there on the right is a famous aviator, Charles Lindbergh. Remember, he was the first solo transatlantic flight. So guys, what happens is that there's not 100% American support to go right to war. This shows that America formed a committee called America First. Okay, and what it is they're against any intervention or aid to the Allies. They even, here guys, here's another example. They have these great shows and publicity saying, save our sons, right? No convoys, which we did in World War I. No death for American boys. And so guys, the other side of the debate is right here on the left, to repeal the Neutrality Acts and to really just get right in and support Great Britain and France. So two sides of the story. And lastly, I want to close with the final bullet of the Lend-Lease Act. And so try to think again about how close we're getting to being in the war. So guys, what happens with the background of this is you need to know Great Britain ran out of money in their fight against Germany. So FDR removed the cash-only policy, and he allowed the U.S. to lend or lease arms to any country vital in the fight to save democracy and protect our interests. So here just shows, guys, just in 1 year alone, how much we are loaning out, especially to Great Britain. And to close, I want you to know this quote. For FDR saw the United States was to become a great arsenal for democracy. What does that really mean? Look at the two images that I included. And what is an arsenal? Certainly is a storage facility for weapons and ammunition. So he sees it symbolically that that's our role, right? We're not going to send soldiers, but we're going to help Great Britain against the Nazis. And so this is also showing our women working in the war munitions factories, and great propaganda here on the left. So we are tiptoeing awfully close to the hostilities, but we're certainly not sending our boys yet. Alright, just to recap, you guys should have parts 1 through 4 completed on the first page of American Neutrality, and this is Tevi signing off. I will see you guys tomorrow.